Cajun Cardboard, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And as you guys know, I'm not the most organized dude, but I went down to New Orleans for a card show. I've got a couple of video clips that I'm about to play for you guys just to kind of take you along on my journey. I'm terrible at this. Honestly, I need somebody to hold the camera because I don't have time nor the desire. I love you guys and I love the channel, and I know you guys like to see people go to shows and what happens at the shows and talk through the deals. I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm disorganized. I didn't video everything. I just videoed some of it, and then I got distracted, and I just wanted to do what I came to do, which was kind of buy and try to sell and deal and make some trades. But I'm going to walk you through all that stuff. I've got like a little itinerary to try to kind of stay on point here. And then I'll run some video for you guys. And then we're going to take a look at the cards I picked up and the value of some of those cards. Then we're going to talk about a deal at the end of the show. As I was walking out, I saw two guys in the lobby that both recognized me and said, "Hey, are you Cajun Cardboard?" I said, "Yes." And they're like, "Come over here. You may want some of this stuff." And I was like, "What are the odds? Let's find, do you have any Jordan?" And the answer was yes. And so we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. So stay tuned for the most maddening would-be trade of my entire life. And then just to generally speaking, let me give you a rundown. So this is a card show. It's in New Orleans. I think they do it maybe every 3 months, maybe. It seems like it's at least every 3 months, maybe every 2 months. Some good friends of mine are down there. So I always go down there and try to say hi to them. And I've gotten to know some of these people in Louisiana. I've been to a couple Baton Rouge shows now. This is my second New Orleans show. I've been to a trade night in New Orleans. And so one of my really good friends, Brad, is down there. And so I just go down there really just to see him and just shoot the stuff. And I was bringing my 8-year-old son, JoJo, to his first ever card show. He had a couple of raw soccer cards that he wanted to sell. And wink, wink, Brad was willing to look at them and maybe try to get a deal done for JoJo's first ever card sale. I asked him, "Hey, do you want these Messi mosaics? Do you want these Ronaldo, mosaic base? Do you want these cards, or would you rather have money?" He's like, "Money." And I was like, "Oh, Lord, capitalism at its finest." There's a Republican 8-year-old growing up in South Louisiana. He wanted the money. "Give me the money." And I was like, "Okay, fine, but that's not really what it's about." But that's what he wanted. And so that was the plan, take JoJo down there. The show started at 9. He had a soccer game at 3. So I planned to spend from about 9 to 12. So I had about 3 hours to work with, which was plenty of time. It was I'm guessing maybe 20 tables. I might be wrong. It might be 15 to 25. I'm not good at that. But we'll say 25 jammed like sardines into a little room. Part of the issue was the show was tough because there was enough people there. It was well attended when I got there. It was well attended enough to the point where if one person was looking at the table on their right and one person was looking at the table on their left, you couldn't walk through. You just couldn't, especially if they were fat on either side. You just couldn't get through. So it was a little annoying. And then you throw into the fact that there was a lot of raw boxes, which I honestly, for the basketball side of it, I would have loved to have sat down and spent 1 hour with JoJo kind of looking through and picking out $1, $2 cards maybe that were grade worthy or that he wanted to put in his collection for soccer or whatever. The show was, as always in South Louisiana, heavily baseball, heavily football centric. There was some vintage there, baseball and football as always, but primarily the show was ultra modern, shiny basketball, well, in order: football, baseball, basketball, very little 90s. We'll talk a little bit more about it. There was one table that really caught my eye, and I did get a deal done for a good Jordan that we'll talk about in a second. But mostly baseball, football, basketball, really well attended. I can't stress that enough. Lots of retail wax, like blasters and crap like that, which does not interest me at all. I open retail packs when I have that itch, but I don't like to buy retail. I'm certainly not going to go to a show and pay full price for a bunch of retail blaster boxes, but like one guy's whole setup was a bunch of retail stuff. It's like that doesn't really interest me. It was good to visit with friends. I saw maybe 15 people that were like, "Oh, you're Cajun Cardboard. Nice to meet you. We like your channel." All positive feedback, which was fun and rewarding. And it's just nice to know that there are people in my home state that kind of identify with me also being a collector from Louisiana, and they're like, "Man, don't stop doing what you're doing. My son loves it. I love it. I'm watching it." One of the guys was probably one guy I got to deal with, nicest dude ever from Mississippi. is down to earth and straightforward as ever, and I bought some raw stuff from him for a really good price. Just a really nice guy. He was clearly a dealer, and he was in town from a small town just across the border in Mississippi. And he's like, "I love your eBay channel," and I was like, "You mean YouTube?" He's like, "Yeah, YouTube. That's it. Yeah, I love your YouTube channel." He called it the eBay channel. And I was like, "All right, well, I know I got a fan if you don't even know what YouTube is, but you like my channel." So got to get a deal done with him. JoJo gets his first deal done. I'll show you a little video here. JoJo got his first deal done for a couple of cards to my good friend Brad down in New Orleans. And then as I was walking out, there was a box of 90s from this Mississippi gentleman that caught my eye. I just happened to look over and see an Olajuwon. You're going to see a video with the raw cards that I picked up from that dollar box. It was on a corner table, and it was on my way out of the show, and I just happened to glance and see an Olajuwon Fleer Brilliance, and I was like, wait, that's a 90s card. Maybe there's more. And he had a bunch of dollar boxes in rows. And so I got to flip through there for about 20 minutes and pick up 15, 20 maybe raw cards that are PSA candidates, or maybe they're not. I don't know. I wanted to get here with my jeweler's loop at my office and kind of check it out over here. So some of them I might send, some of them I might not. With Olajuwon, you almost have to get a 10 unless it's a high-end insert where you can get 8s and 9s. So those caught my eye, and I ended up getting to buy some of that because it was on a corner and I actually could stand there and there was room for people to pass. Otherwise, it was really hard to even look into any of these raw boxes. There was one guy there. My big purpose was to go down there and try to move some of these Topps Chrome. I moved to 0, not one. Didn't trade one, didn't sell one. The people there just don't have a really high budget. Like, I could count on one hand how many $3,000 cards were in the show probably. So the show still had meaning. It still had purpose. I still enjoyed myself, even though at the end there was a little bittersweet ending to the show that we'll talk about. Stay tuned to the end of the video. It was my second meltdown of the show. I say meltdown in quotes, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So I could not move any of the LeBrons. There was one guy there that I thought I was going to he's bought me out of literally hundreds of slabs before at trade nights down there. He's got, I don't want to say deep pockets, but he knows the deal. I mean, we've done deals for high hundreds of dollars, so I thought maybe he'd buy 4 or 5 LeBron Chromes, at a discount. We talked real quickly. He was buying somebody else's slabs. He likes to buy and then sell. He's a flipper. Nice guy, very direct and straight to the point, which I love. And I was like, I'm at 90% of comps. He's like, not enough. He's like, I'd need to be way lower than that. And I was like, well, Probstein's got me at 95% if it sells for over 1,000. So I'm probably just going to move them to him and just let him go. He's like, you shouldn't do that. He's like, I'd have to be too low. So we agreed to disagree and agreed that there was probably no light at the end of the tunnel there. So I didn't get to move any of the LeBrons, spoiler alert. So off to Probstein they go. And then that's it. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you a couple video clips. Then I'm going to show you every single card that I picked up at the show. And then at the end, stay tuned to the end, and I'll talk you through the last trade in detail, which was absolutely maddening. I'll show you what I was trying to get, what I was willing to offer, and it was maddening, and that's why I call it a meltdown. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard. Figured I'd do a little day-long thing with video clips. It's Saturday, like February, maybe the 26th, something like that. I'm heading down to New Orleans. I don't get to go to card shows very often, but this morning in New Orleans, there's a little 25, maybe 30 table card show that they do at the Ramada Inn down there, and I've got some good friends, some good dealers, some other collectors down there that I can't wait to go see and hang out with. I'm bringing my 8-year-old son, JoJo, my youngest son, and we're going to go down there. He's got a few raw soccer cards he seems to think he's going to be able to sell. And I don't know what I'm doing. I've got this big box of LeBron Chrome. I'm trying to move some of that either in trade. I'd love to cash it out because I'm trying to build some funds for some big Jordans, one big Jordan in particular. So I need some cash out of these LeBron Chrome cards. I'm taking an absolute ass whipping on those cards, as you guys know from the past videos on my channel. But trying to move those Chrome cards, and that's really goal number A1 today, is to get those Chrome cards moved and liquidated. Whatever I don't move or liquidate, I'm just going to send them off to Rick Probstein and let him roll with it, turn that into some money, get that money into my account, and maybe get ready to move forward on some of these Jordan Grails. Obviously, I'm also looking for any Dame Lillard graded cards that I don't have that catch my eye. That is like a needle in a haystack, 4-leaf clover shit. I'm never going to find any of that at this show. And then, of course, any Jordan PSA 8s or BGS 9.5s or 10s that I just may happen to run across, which is also extremely unlikely. A lot of these New Orleans card shows, not to disparage the card show, but it's extremely football-centric. Saints, Joe Burrow, extremely baseball-centric. Basketball is a distant third here in Louisiana amongst collectors, and so I have a suspicion and a hunch I may not be picking up many cards, but hopefully I can accomplish my goal and move these. One thing I do want to do just for the channel is, and I might sit down at a dollar box and let you guys and share with you guys what I'm looking at. I want to try to pick up some raw cards that maybe I could send to PSA, have a little fun, try to flip and grade and do that little game. And maybe you guys can kind of follow along with me this morning as I do that. Anyway, hopefully I think there's going to be a few of these clips during the day. I'll merge these things all together. We'll do a video, and then I'll do a little summary for you at the end of how my my half day spent in New Orleans was. I've got about, let's see, I'm gonna be there from about 9:30 until about maybe 12:30. So I got a good 3 hours amongst 25 tables. So I should be able to pretty much exhaust everything they have down there. And then we got to head back to Baton Rouge, about an hour north for JoJo's soccer game. So card show and soccer game for young JoJo today. Pretty good day if you ask me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully there's a little bit more. Maybe there's something a little sexier, a little exciting later on in this video. Maybe I'll stumble upon some gold down there in New Orleans at this card show. We'll see. Thanks.
All right, here's a stack of LeBron cards that I was bringing down to the New Orleans show, hoping beyond hope, probably false hope, which it turned out to be, that I could move some of these either in trade, which almost happened, or on a small scale, or maybe get somebody down there to cash me out at a percentage of, relevant current comps. Even if it was just 2 or 3, it would be nice to put some cash in my pocket and maybe try to reallocate that into some Jordan stuff. So here's the stack of LeBrons.
All right, rolling up to the Ramada in Metairie, Louisiana, which is kind of a suburb of New Orleans. I got JoJo with me. We're gonna get some intel from JoJo, my 8-year-old son, see what his plans are for the show. He's got some cards he's trying to move. This will be his first experience trying to sell cards. I asked him if he'd rather have his messy cards or $5, and he said $5. So I got some work to do with him, so we'll work on that. But we're going to see what this is all about. So I'll just give y'all a little walk in here. It smells almost like someone lit a joint and put it into my nostrils. The smell of weed is pervasive, to say the least. So before we go in here, there's a lot of traffic out back, by the way. It's actually connected to an IHOP, which is never a bad thing. But let's chat with JoJo. JoJo, talk to me. You're on camera, my man. Tell me what your plan is today.
I'm gonna sell some cards.
Yeah? What kind of cards? Baseball, basketball, football, soccer?
Basketball and soccer.
Basketball and soccer. What did I tell you about Louisiana people? What do they think?
They like football and baseball.
Yeah. That's true. They like football and baseball, but hopefully we'll find somebody to buy some of these soccer cards. You sure you're going to be okay selling a Messi card?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get in here and let's see what this place looks like. Maybe 15, 20 tables, about what I expected. Yeah.
All right.
Where is it? There it is. Look down here, JoJo.
You give it to him?
You got it? Thank you. Jordan Meltdown. We're gonna take a chance of cracking and maybe pulling a PSA 8. Yes, it's a downgrade, but that's the plan. That's the plan. All right. Be famous.
All this?
All right.
Yeah, you gotta get in here.
JoJo got his
Good
first.
deal.
JoJo got his first deal done. Hold up your $10 bill, man. Where's your 10? Huh? Hold it up. We got to know what you sold them for. All right. So we got JoJo got a 10. His first deal at a card show. What we trade? Some Ronaldos. What else we have in there? We got a Messi, a Phil Foden, and a Zlatan, and Ibrahimovic. Pretty good deal.
Good deal. Appreciate it.
And he got
Thanks,
to deal
buddy.
with an icon of New Orleans. Nola collects, Mr. Brad.
Here we go. Oh, check out my man.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, guys, here's what I picked up at the card show. We're going to start with the raw stuff first. I'll kind of explain where I found this stuff, how I picked it up, and what my thought process was. And, I'll talk through right now just sort of what I paid for it. But this is what I picked up at the New Orleans card show this past weekend. Whoa, let's go here. Okay. Nothing crazy sexy, but as I'll explain in the video, these sort of caught my eye. As I was actually walking out, I glanced to my right, and I saw this Fleer Brilliance Olajuwon, and I was like, wait a second, that's a 90s card. Maybe there's more to the story, and it was in a dollar box, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Dollar boxes were tough to look through. I didn't really get a chance to look through them because the damn rows were so tight, you couldn't even walk by if there was two people looking opposite directions at the tables. So some logistic issues down there they need to kind of clean up. They need to eliminate 2 or 3 tables and just kind of give more rows, or maybe put some tables out in the lobby instead of trying to jam them all in one room. But long story short, let's get looking at the cards. So a bunch of raw stuff. I figured I didn't have time to really look at it. I didn't have a jeweler's loop with me when I was there, but I was like, I love Olajuwon. I think he's underpriced. I picked all these Olajuwon cards up. Fleer Brilliance, Emissaries from Topps, Star Power, which I was pretty excited about. You know, everybody, you've seen these cards on my show, mostly the Jordans, of course. The Ball Hawks from Topps Chrome. I think from Topps Chrome. Topps Finest? God, I don't have my glasses on. I can't see it. God, I'm old. A pretty decently centered with Topps Finest with coating right here. Masters with coating, which traditionally they actually grade pretty well. Of course, you guys know I'm Team Peel, so I'm going to rip those off. Another Finishers with coating. All the corners and edges looked okay to the naked eye. Again, I'm not saying these are 10s, but a couple of them I'm going to look real closely at and maybe take a swing. And just because it's fun, man. It's fun content. It's fun to try. So we'll see what they come out with. A Metal Shredders from the great 1996 Fleer Metal set. A metallized from the also I think 1996 metal, right? I think so. I think that's 96 metal, but that's the metallized, which I've always really liked these cards. I think these are very unique and artistic and really cool. A little die cut here from SP. And then lastly, I think this is a pretty decent looking 87 Fleer sticker. Am I crazy? I mean, it's actually decent looking. That little thing up here at the top is actually on the card. And all these have stickers on them. I mean, that's a pretty decent looking 87 Fleer sticker. The centering is banging on the front, which is really rare. There's no diamond cutting at all to the naked eye. So I don't know. I might run it up the flagpole and see what happens. Who knows? It's real easy to move a PSA 8, PSA 9 Olajuwon, and it's probably a swing that I'll just go ahead and take. So all of these Olajuwons, and then, well, let's keep going. So those raw I picked up in the dollar box. In the same dollar box, I picked up these non-Olajuwons. There was a Scoring Kings Hot Pack Grant Hill, which looked really good. These cards are pretty tough to grade. There's a little bit of whitening up there, as you can see. Again, probably on the bottom as well. But when you can pick up a Scoring Kings for $1, you pick it up. And so I grabbed that Grant Hill. The only Jordan Raw that I saw was this card right here. We're going to look at it on Card Ladder and compare prices and kind of figure it out. I paid $1. So I thought it was well centered. I'm going to send it no matter what, because if I get an 8, I win. If I get a 10, I win. And the only way I lose is if I get a 9 or a 7. So I'm going to send this bad boy to PSA and take my chances. Again, $1. I picked this up because I don't know why. I didn't have time to look it up in Card Ladder while I was there, but I know Skybox autographics, actual on-card autos, are crazy rare from the 90s. And so I grabbed this Tom Hammonds, and I wasn't sure what it was worth, but it was $1, and so I grabbed it. And true enough, we're going to look on Card Ladder, and it's about a $2 card, so no harm done there. A Shaq Postman, a Shaq Hoop Screens, which actually looks pretty good. You know, I collect Shaq, so I'll run that up the flagpole. This is the scoreboard Shaq, which is really low pop. I was hoping it would be in decent condition. I looked, and it's not in great condition on the back at all, but it doesn't matter. I'll just throw it in my Shaq Raw collection. I don't really have a Shaq Raw collection, but I'll probably throw it in a box and sit on it for a decade and see what happens. I don't think it's going to be grade worthy. I have no idea what this is worth, but it was $1, and it's a Power Boosters, and I know those are pretty raw and tough to find, and it's John Stockton. And I know there's not many out there, so I figured maybe if I grade this and somehow it gets a 9 or 10, there's a John Stockton PC guy out there that might pick that up. And then lastly, yes, I bought a Kobe card. If you guys watch my channel, you know this doesn't happen very often. I picked up this Kobe card. I wasn't familiar with it. I think it's a Kobe second-year card. So I think this is a 1997, if I'm not mistaken. No, it can't be. It must be 2000 or something like that. Maybe 99. I don't know, because it's got 3 years of Laker on there, so it's not a 97. It must be a 99 or something like that. But I just thought it was a good looking card. I'll do the research later. It was $1 and the condition looked pristine. So I just grabbed it. The hell with it. Let's see what happens. And so those raw cards right there that I just showed you, all those Olajuwons, the Kobe, the Grant Hill, the Jordan, all that stuff, that was $30. That was from a real nice guy who had a corner table, and I was on my way out and I just happened to glance over and see that Olajuwon, and I was like, what the hell? Did I actually find some 90s cards at this New Orleans card show? I'd never really experienced that. It was a corner table, so I had time to actually sit there and go through them, and that's what I came up with. I lied. I did pick up one more raw Jordan. I grabbed this metallized. I couldn't really tell. It was in a one-touch, but it was recessed, so I'm not worried about it. But this is a metallized Jordan, and he had it for $15. And I think I actually, yeah, so this is what I did. I picked these two up from the same dealer for $50. So I thought that was a deal. This 1995 Finest Hot Stuff with the Hot Stuff stamp down here. I didn't have it in PSA 8 for my little PSA 8 collection. And then this metallized, he had them both listed for $60. And I said, look, give it to me for $50 cash. He said, deal. Easy peasy. So good looking 8, 1995 Finest Hot Stuff Jordan right there. Not too green. And then the metallized as well. And the metallized doesn't look bad. I'll run it up the flagpole. We'll see what happens. It's white on the bottom left corner, so there's a decent chance it'll get an 8. And I think that would be a duplicate 8 if I'm not mistaken. So I think I already have one of these, but I'm not super sure. I have to check my PSA vault. So $50 for those two. Not bad at all. The next biggest deal I did, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. There's one guy there that I thought might buy me out of the LeBron Chromes that we're about to, that I showed you on a prior video. He couldn't, but he was looking at another guy's collection or some cards the other guy had to sell, and he said, hey, I know you collect Jordan. Do you want first dibs at these? And I said, absolutely. And there was like 4 others. The others I already had, so I didn't want to buy duplicates. These two I did not have, and so it was a 1996 Topps Chrome PSA 8 base card, and then a 1997 Topps Chrome Bulls NBA Champions PSA 10, which I was really excited about because I don't have this, and anytime you can add a PSA 10 to the collection, I get pretty excited. And so really cool card featuring the Bulls. You got Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, and Ron Harper there for the big dogs. And then you got Jordan finishing with his left here around Alonzo Mourning from the first year original Topps Chrome PSA 8. So I picked these two up, and I think I'm almost certain I paid $150 for these. In fact, I know I did. It was $150 for these. So this was actually a pretty good deal, and I just dropped $150 cash on the guy. I'm going to look these up on Card Ladder and a couple of these other ones on Card Ladder. So stay tuned a little bit later in the video. We're going to kind of talk through some of these and what I paid and whether it was a good deal or not. And then the only big Jordan I picked up, and I say big, it's a mid Jordan. I grabbed this. There was actually one table there that was right up my alley. And I'll talk about this more in the video, but he was one of the guys that recognized me right away, and his son was with him. He's like, hey, my son and I are big fans of your channel. We watch it all the time. You and I have a lot in common. And then right when he said that, I glanced at his display case and I was like, damn, we do have a lot in common. He had 4 or 5 Jordans. He had 5 or 6 really nice, good grade Shaq cards that meant something. I'm trying to remember. He had a Beam Team Shaq, a Topps Gold Shaq. I'm trying to remember what other Shaqs he had in there, but he had like 4 or 5 like real quality Shaqs. He had a couple of Jordans, including this one that of course caught my eye right away. And he had a bunch of amazing 90s Griffey inserts. So he was primarily a Griffey collector. That was kind of his PC. We got to talk for about 10 minutes, and his son looked to be maybe a year or 2 younger than my son, JoJo, who was at the show with me at his first show. And so his son was working behind the table with him. JoJo was helping me pick up deals and buy cards as well. And so we got a deal done here, and his son got to hand me the card, and JoJo took the card, and JoJo held the camera. Actually, my son held the camera. His son handed the card over. So I picked this one up for $300. We'll look at it on Card Ladder and see whether it was a good deal or not. If it's a crack and a resub and comes back a 9, it's a humongous home run. Is that likely? No. If it comes back a PSA 8, it's right on the number. If it comes back a PSA 7, I'll lose about 50, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. But I am going to crack it and sub it. The one thing I did not realize, and I'll talk about it when we pull it up on Card Ladder, is I did not realize I already have a PSA 8 and a PSA 10. I knew I had the 10 because it was a big purchase of mine and a meaningful card in my collection. I didn't know I already had the 8. And so if this does come back a PSA 8, it'll be a duplicate, which I'm okay with because I think this is one of the few Jordan, I shouldn't say one of the few, one of numerous Jordan cards from the 90s that I think is completely undervalued. This is a pretty tough card to pick up in PSA 8, 9, or 10. And so I think it's a little bit undervalued, and I don't mind sitting on it as an investment piece if it comes back an 8, and I'll just have 2 8 copies. But we'll look at that in my PWCC vault later on in the video. But that was the biggest card that I picked up. All right, here's a quick look at a video of the 7 Michael Jordan PSA 8 cards that I was trying to pick up in that almost trade that caused me to melt down.
And then trying to get a deal done, and I'll do another video for a couple of the Jordans. We got a
You ever own a BTS
8,
10
7.
Jordan before?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
10?
Yeah. We got a Jordan Chrome PSA 8, which I have. The Total D PSA 8, which I might need. A Super Boss 8, which matters. Star Power Plus 8. Back this out. And the Topps embossed PSA 8, like that. What are the odds? And this is me walking out of the hotel, and I run into these fine gentlemen who've got a bunch of Jordans that we might be able to pick up and get a deal done for, and then the Showcase Row 0 from 96 Flair PSA 8 as well. So we'll see if I get a deal done, and we'll get another video, and you guys can follow along.
These are the cards that were in play for what I call the second meltdown, right? You saw the meltdown that I picked up. These were the cards that were in play for the big trade. I say big. It was 7 Jordan cards. I'm going to post a picture of it on the video so you guys see, but I'm going to show you these in advance, and then we'll talk about the trade after. These were the cards of mine that were in play, okay? These all have subgrades on the back. I had my trade value on there, so it could not possibly get any easier than this. It was I had 2 base, I had 1 quad. I had 2 quads, so you can see on the back the subgrades. These were graded long ago, so these are 2 quad pristine base cards. I had this 2003 Topps LeBron minimum gem that was in play with a 9 for centering here, and then I had this Topps Topps pristine uncommon parallel. So it's not a refractor per se, but it is serial numbered, as you can see, to 999. I think this card's undervalued, and I really don't want to trade it. I probably should just keep this one, but this was a gem plus with a 10 for centering that I had trade valued at about $750, which I think was the best deal in all of the cards that I brought down there. And then I just had an example. Here's a PSA 9 that he kept talking about. So this guy, I'm not going to get negative, but it ended up being a complete and utter waste of time, and I was a little disappointed in how it was handled. These were the cards that were in play for me to trade to him. The cards that I was looking to pick up, there were 7 Jordan PSA 8s. 6 of them I didn't have and I needed. 1 of them I just wanted a duplicate. His cards totaled up to about 1,000 based on pure comps, like what I found on Card Ladder. I would say those cards sell for $1,000 gross. I had my cards marked. The options that I gave the guy were this card plus $300, which is $1,050 trade value, and he picks up the biggest card. The biggest Jordan he had was about $400. this would have been the biggest card in the deal. So I'm giving him a huge card. He's giving me 7 Jordan PSA 8s, and I'm also giving him $300, and I'm giving him more than his cards are worth. And it's a numbered LeBron rookie. The other option was this card and $300, same thing. So I'm giving him $1,100 value for his $1,000 value. And then the last one was take them both. 2 quad gem Topps pristine LeBrons, $500 each, $1,000 trade value straight up for the 8 Jordan PSA 8s. We'll talk about it more in detail, why it blew my mind and really honestly kind of pissed me off and frustrated me. But the guy ended up stealing about 40 minutes of my time with honestly no intention of trading, and then we'll talk about more in the video, so stay tuned. But this is what was in play from my end, and I ended up moving no LeBron Chromes, and so off to Probstein. All of my LeBron Chromes go. Actually, I have a couple of them in the PWCC Weekly coming up if you're interested in looking at those, but the rest of them are going off to Probstein. So those were the constituent cards that I was trying to give up in my trade. And this one as well was sort of in play, but only from a comedy standpoint, because this is, I think, maybe $1,600, $1,700 card. I can't remember. I had to look it up. And I had, 15 or 20 of these, or however many I had down there. And he kept saying, oh, I want the PSA 9. I want the PSA 9. And I was like, well, man, you're giving me $1,000 in cards. You could pull out $600 cash and we can get a deal done. And I'll trade you the PSA 9. I'd rather trade you the PSA 9 because I think this is this card means less to me than the Topps pristine gems do. But the guy he didn't get it. Like, it was almost like the wheels were spinning, but nothing was clicking. It was like a hamster wheel where the guy just kept doing the same thing over and over. It was maddening. It was absolutely maddening to the point where my 8-year-old son said, Dad, what's he doing? Why does he keep looking at those cards? But we'll talk about it more in the video. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed those video clips and you got to see all the cards that I picked up start to finish. Again, I'm sorry, nothing crazy sexy. The Meltdown was probably the biggest card I picked up. As I mentioned briefly in the video, I already had an 8 and I didn't know it. All I had to do was get on my phone, look at my vault, search Meltdown, and I would have seen it, but I didn't. And to be honest with you, I probably would have bought it anyway just because I was so excited to see a relevant Michael Jordan insert card at this New Orleans show. I was just super excited about it, and I was like, damn, if he's anywhere near comps, I'm just going to get it because it just feels good to pay cash and have the card immediately. I don't have to wait for it. So here's my 2 Meltdowns. Like I said, I've already got this PSA 8 in my collection. And so hopefully this BGS 8.5, I'm going to crack it, sub it to PSA. If it's a 9, it's a humongous home run. And look, here's why I say that. If it comes back a PSA 9 by some chance, the last one sold $1,600. And as you know, I picked up this BGS 8.5 for $300. I'm sorry, 8.5. Here's the 8.5 on Card Ladder, right? So that's where the last one sold $310. And it's at $525. It's at $372. It's at $310. Only 114 have been graded. Wait, I had that wrong. 114 BGS 8.5. So what is that? 700. About 750 of these Meltdowns have been graded. The gem rate is paltry for both of them, 3 and 2. It's just not that easy to pull one of these Meltdowns, and it's even harder with the foil and the dark corners and edges. 8 dark corners, 8 dark edges to keep it in good condition. So I was happy paying $300 cash. The last one sold $310. The one before that $372. So I picked up the 8.5, and this is my thinking. The PSA 7, if I crack it and resub it and it comes back a 7, that's a $232-ish card. I lose. If it comes back a PSA 8, I got exactly what I paid for. Look at the 8. 331, 335, 321, 316, 320. So if I pay $25 to grade it, I basically just bought an 8 for exactly what the 8's worth, and now I have 2 8s sitting in my vault, right? I got that one, and I'll have another one. But if it comes back a 9 for some reason, I know it's not likely. 57 9s out of 435 that have been submitted. That's what, about a 1 in 8 chance, about a 12.5% chance or something like that. It's worth a shot. If it comes back a 9, it's going to be a huge home run. I'll flip it for over $1,000. It'll be nice. And I'll sell it on the channel. And you guys can buy the card that was once an 8.5 that cracked and came back a 9. I don't think that's very likely. I'm a very realistic person, so it's quite likely going to be a 7 or an 8. Knowing my luck with PSA, it'll be a 7. And then there's my 10, which I'm super proud of. Big card. Love to have that card in my collection. As I said, the back is all dark corners and edges. The front is all dark corners and edges. Foil, which makes it just miserable to keep in PSA 10 condition. And that's why we know show. The PSA 10s are a pop 16 out of 435 graded, so not likely to come back PSA 10. What else do we need to talk about? The Skybox Autographics card. I just wanted to show you guys. It was a 1998 Skybox Autographics Tom Hammonds card. For some reason, I had it in my head. All Autographics cards were valuable, almost like all PMGs. I didn't think to that level. I just knew they're really high pack odds and really hard to find, and there are set collectors out there. So I thought maybe there would be a set collector out there that wants this Tom Hammonds autograph. I don't know why I thought it would be maybe a $15 or $20 card, but it is exactly what I paid, $1. It sold for $236, $134, $280, 99 cents, $325. So Tom Hammonds was a pretty decent power forward for Georgia Tech, if I recall. So I got what I paid for. I paid $1, and it's worth $1. The next card, the two cards that I picked up together in a trade, the 1996 Topps Chrome PSA 8, which you see on your screen, and I picked up this 1997 Topps Chrome Bulls Champions card. The refractor, I didn't realize when I was looking up in Card Ladder to buy this one, refractor's $5,000 last sale for PSA 10. That's a monster card. I'm not looking forward to buying, I mean, I gotta have it, but I'm not looking forward to paying $5,000 for a freaking Team Bulls card. But you guys can look at this card, and like, if this card doesn't give you nostalgia and you're my age or older, I don't know what will. But the Fearsome Foursome shown right there, probably one of the best defensive quartets in the history of NBA pro basketball. These four dudes right here could guard their ass off. Ron Harper was a little bit later in his years, as was Jordan by this point, but these dudes could guard their ass off, and they were miserable, and that's part of what made the Bulls team special. But anyway, let's look at the prices on this. As I recall, I paid $150 cash for these two cards combined. If we look at the 96 Chrome PSA base, Card Ladder says it's a $60 card. It sold a bunch in the last, what is this? Let's go 3 months. 59, 51, 57, 52, 59. So about a $50 card cash would have been a fair price to pay. And then the Bulls card here that we've got, it wasn't in the database, but it was in the Card Ladder. The last one, as you can see, sold for $138. So you add those up, it's about $188 in value. I paid $150 cash. That seems fair to me. That seems fair to the dealer. I'm sure he was happy to get cash and no fees, no shipping, none of that. Just hand it over. And so that's an easy deal that we got done for two cards that I didn't have. One, a baby PSA 8, one, a PSA 10 that I needed. So happy to get that deal done. Next is this Jordan. And this is an interesting one, right? So this is not in the Card Ladder database either. You guys saw it in the video. I bought a raw one and paid about $1.50 for those cards. I bought all those raw cards for $30 cash. And I didn't count how many. I probably should have, but again, I'm not a details guy when it comes to shows. But I think I probably paid $1 to $1.50 for all those cards because there was about 20 of them, maybe a little bit more, so maybe about 30 cards, something like that. But the last PSA 10 Jordan was a $560 card. I'm not one to dream. I'm usually a realist, but that raw card that I have looks really well centered and looks really good on corners and edges. Again, I haven't put the jeweler's loop on it. I'm about to, and I'm nervous about it, but a PSA 10 is a big card. The PSA 9, which I literally think it definitely has a chance at a PSA 9, is that's a 7. That's an 8. That is a PSA 9, a $33 card. So it's a wash. If I could get pay $20, $22 to grade the card and it comes back to PSA 9, go for it. $45, $38. So $50. A PSA 9 is a win, a little miniature win. I'll end up flipping it. But a PSA 8 is really what I wanted. And a PSA 8, I can't find it. Where is it? There it is. PSA 8's 31, 25, 23, 22. So I'm going to basically pick up the PSA 8 that I need for my collection for exactly what the card's worth if it comes back a PSA 8. So 10's a home run, a preposterous home run. It's not going to happen. And the rest are what they are. All right, let's talk about that trade at the end of the show. I'm walking out of the show. I've been there for about 2 hours. It's time to bail. I'm literally got my backpack, everything zipped up. I'm on my way out. JoJo's with me. He's hungry as hell. We're going to eat. And this guy, young kid, looks over at me. He's like, "Hey, are you Cajun Cardboard?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Cajun Cardboard." He's like, "We watch your channel. I love your channel." And the other guy's like, "You Cajun Cardboard?" I said, "Yeah, I'm Cajun Cardboard." He's like, "I got some cards for you." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's sit down." And so one young guy, one much older guy, probably in his mid 50s, I'm guessing. And so we sit down. He's got a briefcase full of chaos. There are cards in, this should have been the telltale sign. There are cards in no order whatsoever. It's multiple sports, mostly basketball from what I could see. And I'm like, I knew he wasn't going to have any Jordans. But I was like, you got any Jordans? He's like, yeah, I got a lot of Jordans. And I was like, where are they? And he's like, they're in here. And I'm saying there was probably 180 slabs. And so I was like, are you interested in trading for some LeBron Chrome rookie cards or LeBron Pristine rookie cards? He says, yes. And I was like, okay, unzip my backpack, get my pen out, go through his case. It takes about literally 20 minutes to go through his case. I take every single Jordan that I'm interested in, put it in a stack, run the comps on it. That's what you see on your screen. There was a Scoring Kings. This was like a 95 Scoring Kings. It's the blue and black one, like the Grant Hill we just looked at, Scoring Kings, PSA 8. There was a Row Zero PSA 8, which I didn't realize is a $430 card. Row Zero Flair Showcase. There was a Beam Team. What year was that? It was the 93 Beam Team, not 92, not the first year. Second year Beam Team, PSA 8, which I think I already have, but I was happy to pick up another one if it was in a trade. There was a Topps Embossed PSA 8. There was a Star Power PSA 8, which again would be a duplicate, but if it's there. A Super Boss PSA 8, which really did interest me because I don't think I have the Super Boss PSA 8 yet, and I had that valued at $150. And then there was an original 1992 Fleer Total D, which I think I have, but maybe I don't. And so I wrote down all the comps, and this doesn't perfectly add up to 1,000, but it was close enough to where I told the guy, look, I'm at 1,000 on trade. Here's my box. It's real simple, dude, okay? There's two PSA 10 LeBrons. They were out of his league. He would have had to give me 50 slabs from what he had. I was like, don't look at those. You don't need to look at those. I didn't say this, but I should have. There was two PSA 10s. There was a few BGS 9.5 Topps Chrome LeBrons. There was like 14 or 15 PSA 9 Topps Chrome LeBrons. So it's real simple. It should take you 5 seconds to look through my box. Then there was some Fox and some Jaylen Brown, which he wasn't interested in. Then there was a couple of Topps Pristine and a Topps Paper LeBron. That was sort of more in his wheelhouse. I showed you the cards on the video. Those were the cards that were in play. So he had 1,000 trade value. I'm like, look, man, I'm willing to give you around 1,000 in trade value. I'll even go to 1,100, and put cash in there. And I cannot stress enough how long this guy looked at his 7 cards. He just kept flipping through his 7 cards over and over and over. And honestly, he did it for, I'm not exaggerating to you guys. I sat there and I was like, look, I really do have to go. I think he sat there for 20 minutes. Flipping through his 7 cards, these 7 cards that are on your screen right here, his cards. And then he would grab my cards and he'd start flipping through the PSA 10s and the BGS 9. And I'm like, look, I don't mean to be rude. Those are out of play. Here's the cards that we're talking about. We're trying to get near 1,000. If you think it's worth more than 1,000, tell me why. But I'm willing to give you 1,100. I'm giving you the bigger card. I'm giving you, no matter what the trade is we make, I'm giving you the biggest card, and I'm giving you more than the trade value of the Jordans. And so he told me he was interested in the LeBrons, and then he just kept saying, LeBron can't win. LeBron's going to lose this year. His cards are going down. They're just going to keep going down. And, and I was like, then what's going to happen? Then he's going to retire, and then they're just going to keep going down. And I'm like, dude, hold on. Let's relax right now. I'm not going to get into this. Do you want the LeBrons or do you not want the LeBrons? And then he would go back and he'd just look at his cards for another 20 minutes. So this is my second meltdown. The first one was the nice meltdown, 8.5 I picked up. This was my second meltdown. It got to the point where my 8-year-old son whispered in my ear, Dad, what is he doing? Why is this taking so long? And finally I told the guy, I was like, man, look, I was like, I hate to do this, but I was like, I got to pack up and get out of here. I was like, did you really want to do a trade or not? And no. Like he just didn't respond at all. And so I packed my stuff up and I left. And I was like, hey, man, thanks for trying. And so no deal. But it would have been nice to pick up those PSA 8s because I needed probably 5 of those cards. And it would have been nice to move LeBron to get Jordan back. That's kind of what I'm trying to do right now with those cards that I'm about to now send to Probstein. And so as I'm walking out in the parking lot, after this meltdown trade that never happened, I get in the parking lot and I see another guy and he's like, hey, we didn't get a chance to talk. And it's a guy I recognize from other shows before. And forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he's a super friendly guy. And we talk about what he got, what I picked up. We do that every trade night, every show. He goes to Baton Rouge shows. He goes to New Orleans shows. So I've seen him probably 4 or 5 times, and we always talk. Nice guy. And he's like, let me show you what I got. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I just tried to pick up blah, blah, blah from, this fella in the lobby. He's like, yeah, man, I saw you sitting there, and I wanted to come over there and warn you, that guy never makes trades. Like, he sits there, he opens his stuff up, he talks through everything, but nobody can ever make a trade. He comes to trade night, and everybody knows, don't even talk to him, don't even try, because he never concludes. Like, the trade never happens. He just does this. And I was like, well, that would have been nice to know, because I would love to get my 40 minutes back. So I didn't get my 40 minutes back, but at least it made for another interesting, sad Cajun cardboard story. So that's it. That's kind of my story of the New Orleans card show. Again, it's a lot of talking for about 25 or 30 tables. It was good to see friends. It was good to see a bunch of other Louisiana collectors. It wasn't exactly the inventory that I was looking for to pick up, but I got some cool stuff that I'm kind of excited about. It was better than not spending a Saturday at a card show. We'll say that. I got to talk to good people. I got some great feedback on the channel from some really nice collectors, and got to shake hands with a lot of people and meet them for the first time and introduce myself. And JoJo got his first deal done for the soccer cards, as you can see. Wink, wink. Thanks to my friend Brad. It worked out well. I may or may not owe Brad $10. We'll keep that under wraps. But it was fun to spend a morning with my son at a card show. I tell you what, it was also very refreshing to see how well attended this little show was. I'm telling you guys, there was not any room to move. And again, it was sardines, so it was a small room, not a lot of tables. But I'm going to say there was 100 people in that room at any given time, and that's a lot of people for about 25 to 30 tables. It was crowded, and there was I was there for 3 hours, and it never changed. There was always a lot of people there, and a lot of young kids. I saw some late teenagers there with backpacks and Zion cases and Pelican cases. I saw some little kids there. I got to in the video you get to see my guy that sold me the Meltdown. His young son was helping him work the table. My son was there helping me walk the room and learn, and so it was refreshing, man. And it was a Saturday morning well spent, and everybody arrived back in Baton Rouge safe and sound, and we got a W on the soccer field as well, so that's always important as well. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the New Orleans card show. The next card show I'm going to, I'm not going to be able to make it to the Vegas Mint, sadly enough, and I know Zach's disappointed because he lives out in Las Vegas, but I am gonna, my next show is going to be the Chicago National, and you have my word, I got to bring somebody that's going to hold a camera and put together some great content. I'll try to do some high quality stuff instead of this ragtag South Louisiana hack job that I do for these for the other card shows that I've been to. I know I'm terrible at this, and some people spend a lot of money and make them look real professional. That's just not really my style. I would rather just get the deals done than take pictures of me getting the deals done. So anyway, but I know you guys like numbers, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Wish me luck with Probstein on all these Topps Chromes. It's a bloodbath no matter what. Probstein can't save me at this point. I missed the window. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby, and peace.